And we're live.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yay!
That's John's line, but he's not here.
Nope.
Nope.
Josh, I hate you right now.
Why is that?
Because you're making me do all this marketing work, and I'm terrible at it.
You're getting better. You're
I'm
you're
getting
so much
better, yes.
less terrible than you were like 2 years ago.
It's so frustrating.
Wait, so if you inspire him to do something evil like marketing, does that make you the devil, Josh?
Pretty much.
I will take whatever title needs to be taken in order to get Derek making more sales.
Yes. I will very unhappily and begrudgingly work my butt off in order to make more sales. I would much rather just be lazy and have people throwing money at me. But since I don't have a product in which people do that yet, I guess I have to actually do some work.
So have you been doing one-on-one sales, or what have you been doing this week?
I have tried a tiny bit of that, but the majority of the work that I've been doing this week is research for the stuff that Josh and I are working on with my JavaScript This course.
Oh, okay.
So I've had 3 hours worth of screencasts transcribed, and I've reviewed one of them so far and taken a few notes on it about the key points that I cover in there. And then I've been reading articles on creating personas for marketing focus, including stuff that Josh sent to me, and working on trying to narrow down a good persona and story to tell so that I can keep focused on that target person, the target audience for this particular course. And it's been kind of an exercise in frustration for a while. I was doing what I thought was great. I was like, wow, this is so cool. This is great. I've got this great persona. And then I stepped back and looked at it this morning and realized that I had completely focused entirely wrong, and I was talking about a person that wanted a different product.
Oops. So yeah. So don't. One caution on that. Some of the persona stuff is like written for. The reason I kind of go towards there's like avatar and persona are like very similar terms.
Mm-hmm.
The persona thing is like a whole very structured. It's almost like something you give a member of your marketing team and have them go off for 2 months and build. So yeah, just don't get sucked into that.
Yeah.
You can kind of like see what they're talking about and stuff, but don't go too over the top with it. You can get really crazy with this stuff.
Yeah. And so I got your example that you had sent me, Josh, and I've been looking at that and thinking about that running product or whatever it was that you had created that persona for while reading it. And then I've gone through and made some major work in my avatar persona, whatever you want to call it, this morning. And I think it's coming along and getting fairly well focused, but I'm having a hard time with the section on what do they need to hear. But we should honestly talk about that in a separate call.
Yeah, we should.
So that we can record that for your material.
I thought you would probably get hung up there, so.
We're gonna need to talk about that, and I'll need you to tear apart the rest of what I've written down as well. But then that's other than that and my client work this week, I haven't done a whole lot of real work. I've been pushing on my my gentle introduction to functional programming webinar launch and getting people registered for that, which is blown up huge. At this point in time, I have a thought of this too that I want to share when you're ready. I have 254 people registered for this.
That is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That is great.
And I had originally set the size limit at 250, hoping that by the time June rolls around, I would have close to that filled up. And I've already hit 254, so I bumped up the seat limit to 500 at this point.
Nice. So you are so you're paying for this is like a one-time deal with Crowdcast, is that?
No, I went with the excuse me. I opted for the monthly $50 a month, which gives me like 35 audience members per month, but mostly it gave me all of the features that I wanted for the actual Crowdcast. And then I'm paying an extra 50 cents per person over 35. So it's going to cost me a couple $100. But if
Okay.
I can get one paying Watch Me Code subscriber out of this, it will pay for the Crowdcast. And then
Yeah.
if I can get a second paying customer for Watch Me Code out of this, that'll just be profits on top of everything.
Nice.
There you go.
And I'm hoping, like seriously hoping, if I could get, 4, 5, 6 customers out of this, that it could easily become the thing that I do and focus on as my major marketing efforts to get those monthly bumps in subscriber counts that I really need. I do want to continue working on the other marketing automation, of course, because I want to have more channels active and be able to bring people in from different ways. But if this is a huge success, it's very little work on my part. All I really have to do is find a guest that's willing to be on this and talk about whatever their expertise is, and then I do the marketing angle of it, which apparently I'm not that bad at doing, considering the number of registrations I already have.
That's pretty awesome. So with this, you could actually, this is something, if you get a couple of good webinars, you could advertise those in Smashing Magazine.
Oh, nice.
Their email. Think about it. I mean, like,
yeah,
they have their email list is like a 250,000 people.
Yep.
So I'm telling you, like this, the webinars are how you take email traffic, which is basically the best traffic you can get,
right,
and scale it up, make it repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, like you could probably get, good grief, you could fill. I mean, a Smashing Mag placement in a newsletter is going to cost you
about $2,500.
About $2,500, and you could easily fill 500 probably seats or more just from one ad.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That would require, what's 2,500 divided by 349? That would require 8 people to become subscribers at that point.
Yeah, so you'll be able to get a good idea of how these work for you.
Yeah.
But the thing is how many people does it reach? So what's that conversion rate? I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Provided that it's the proper audience. I mean, if it's a bad fit, then you might get nothing. But
and I'm kind of worried about that with the current one that I'm doing. I picked functional programming because it's something that I want to learn about, and it's something that I see a lot of people talking about, and clearly a lot of people are interested in it. But I don't have any real functional stuff on the site right now. I have one bundle that deals with arrays, and arrays are kind of a foundational aspect of functional programming in JavaScript. So there is some good info on there, but I've had a fair number of questions in the Crowdcast questions already where people are just expressing a general interest in learning JavaScript and becoming better JavaScript developers. So I think there's going to be enough overlap and enough good content in Watch Me Code to be able to make references to the Watch Me Code stuff, and especially be able to make references to the Watch Me Code Slack. Like, I'm really going to play up the angle of, let's continue this conversation in the Watch Me Code Slack, because that's where this conversation started to begin with, which I'm also going to play that up.
Yep. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited, and I'm having fun watching that grow. I did not make it into Node Weekly or JS Weekly like I hoped. Peter did tweet me once from the JS Daily account, but that was the only love I got from them, which is kind of a bummer. Come on, Peter! I know you listen. That's all right though. I got far more signups in 2 days, 3 days than I expected to, so it's all good.
When is the webinar?
June 6th.
Okay. I was going to say I'd pick it on JavaScript Jabber, but we're like 3 weeks ahead, so
Yeah.
it would be too late. What are you planning on doing with the video afterward? Are you going to post it somewhere? Or?
Yeah, it'll be on the Watch Me Code website. I'm going to make it free, so that means it'll be on YouTube as well as the Watch Me Code site.
Okay. Yeah, give me that link because I'll watch it, and if I like it, then I'll pick it.
Awesome. And I'll put all the Watch Me Code branding and intro and outro and everything else with it before I put it up on YouTube.
Sounds good. Yeah, I really want to try this, but I am booked so solid all the way through July that it's really tough. I may pick a week in July and try and do something like this because that gives me plenty of time to get around to it. But
what's the goal with you doing that though? Because you already do enough webinar content as it is.
With that, it would be to get people to sign up for the conferences.
Okay.
So I would probably do it with somebody who has already spoken at like a JS Remote Conf or Angular Remote Conf. And then at the end, I'll let them pitch whatever they're pitching, and then I'll say, they gave a terrific talk at JS Remote Conf this last year, and we're doing, because I had to postpone React Remote Conf, and so I postponed it to October. So September and October are Angular and React conferences. So I feel like I can pitch them both along with any others that people are interested in and see what we can get. And July and August are kind of the prime time to do that.
Right.
Hey Chuck, I mentioned you to somebody I talked to this week. This guy contacted me through my website. His name was Navid, and he is hosting a virtual summit on email marketing in September. So he invited me to be a speaker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's hoping to have like 20,000 people come to this thing.
Wow.
So he's already got like a lot of the big names, and he's going after some more. So it'll be pretty cool. He was excited about doing he's got like a panel on email courses, so that'll be a natural fit. And I'm probably gonna do like 2 or 3 sessions. Nice. He was real excited. I was like, yeah, just slot me in wherever you think. He was like, oh sweet. But anyway, so his end game with this is he's done a couple of these now, and he wants to he's building a product around virtual summits. So your name popped up, so I gave him your contact info. You might be hearing from him.
Nice.
So yeah, so I told him about what you're doing with the monthly thing, and his eyes fell out of his head. So
yeah, it hasn't quite worked out that way, but I think at this point I've pretty much got the biggest problem I had was just I would put off finding speakers to the last minute.
Yeah.
And that's now pretty much solved. I have Ruby Remote Conf fully booked on speakers. I've got Newbies Remote Conf about half full with speakers, and I'm just reaching out to more people and trying to get the word out about that, and then trying to sell tickets to the Ruby conference. But then Mandy's been doing a terrific job also now working on the August conference, which is robots and IoT. So.
Yeah, so he was pretty interested though, because you're in a quote-unquote boring niche, right? It's not like internet marketing, so he was excited about that. So he might be contacting you.
Yeah, well, it's a boring niche if you're not excited about what we do, but
exactly. Well, yeah.
There are plenty of people who are excited about what we do.
Let's say there's not hordes of Kool-Aid drinking, rabid people out there hoping to get rich by making an Arduino thing.
Clearly, you don't understand the programming community. You were wrong about it all until you went with Arduino. Yeah, there aren't many people trying to make it big on Arduino, but there are plenty of people out there who think they're going to make big money by their awesome open source or closed source project that have no idea how to actually sell the thing.
That is very true.
So, but yeah, it's been interesting. So I feel like I kind of took over a little bit where Derek was going with some of his stuff.
I don't have a whole lot to say.
Okay.
Because I've just been most of what I want to talk about. Josh and I need to have that conversation separately because it's It's about the avatar work for my JavaScript This course, and we are recording that stuff separately so that he can use it to create a couple of video success things.
Yeah, I kind of understand the idea behind having an avatar. I mean, using all 4 elemental powers is no, I'm just kidding.
I am the last avatar, you know.
That's right.
I don't have the thing on my head with the arrow, but I could. I mean, I got a pen. Let me just.
I have not seen that movie.
The movie is pretty good. I haven't watched the cartoon.
The cartoon is excellent.
I've heard that.
Anyway, what I was really driving at is that I can see how it helps you focus your message, and at the same time, it's something that I'm not very good at either.
Yeah.
So I mean, I look at like Rails clips, and I'm trying to get stuff out there for those folks, and I kind of have an idea of who they are, but I don't have like a specific avatar. And I hear people saying, "Yeah, my avatar's name is Jim, and he's 24 years old and has a wife and 2 kids, and he's been programming for 2 years, and blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, yeah, so the only elements in there that are really interesting to me are he doesn't have a ton of time, you know, he's fairly new to his programming career, and he probably watched videos if I put them out there for him.
Well, there's just in what you named, there's a lot more there. So one thing, so he's 24. That right there gives you an idea of what kind of cultural references you can use.
Oh, that's true.
So if you start talking about TV shows from the 80s, you're probably going to get crickets. So that's one thing. He's got a wife and kids, so that he doesn't have time, like you said. But that also depending on the product you're selling. He also, he's tied down. He's got responsibilities, so he can't take a lot of risks. Like there's a lot there. Since he's married, he's got if you're going to sell him something that costs $1,000, he's got to not just convince himself. He's got to also convince his wife that it's a good investment. So there's the main value for me is when you do this is it helps you flip yourself around and sit in their seat instead of your seat when you're having the conversation with them about your product. And so you can, the more I try, any detail that I put in, I want to try to make it be relevant. Because you can go crazy, like you can literally do this forever, right? I mean, just
right.
there's you can describe
you can literally
all his
create an actual person as if you were writing a novel.
What did Jim do today?
Yeah.
What did Jim eat for breakfast?
For the big challenge,
create a fake Twitter account for Jim.
Exactly. the big challenge for me has been getting it narrowed to a common experience without getting so narrow that I am pigeonholing to only one real person.
Right.
There has to be a generality to it, but you need to list specifics that a lot of people in your audience will identify with.
Yeah, and I like to keep it to just like a page, honestly. Yeah. Like no more than a page.
And I've got like 2 pages worth of notes that I've written down. But I know I'm going to take those notes and put it into something more condensed that really hits the heart of what I'm trying to get done. We need to review what I've got so far and then talk about the what do they need to hear section.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, and like the experience level stuff gives you an idea. Like you want to have an idea of what kind of questions are bouncing around in his head. Like what's he frustrated with? And it's if you don't at least think about some of this stuff, and the same thing goes for the product. Like you need to I had Derek get the product transcribed, and he's going to read the transcripts, and that's just. You need to get some notes in place where you have some specific detail of what's in it, because if you don't, you're going to go back to the same general 2 or 3 things every time you do an email or anything, and it's going to start to sound really repetitive and really, really lame.
Right.
Gotcha.
So it's more like having this matrix of options that you can mix and match.
Right.
and connect the dots, different ways, and you keep it interesting that way. And they're all relatively relevant for a big chunk of your audience.
But I'm also finding the exercise to be more beneficial than just this one email course.
Yep.
I mean, I have a very specific goal with this email course to get people interested in the course, to really provide value, to constantly twist the knife and the pain points that they have, and to be able to sell additional products to them after they get through the free information. But in doing this, I'm also finding it useful in thinking about how I'm going to be talking about Watch Me Code inside of my webinar, because I've gone and got or I've gone back to a few of my screencasts, looked through what I had. I created another bundle of screencasts that I put up for sale on the Watch Me Code site, just because I'm thinking about how I'm going to pitch Watch Me Code after the functional JS info.
Wait, so you went and created a new bundle?
Yes.
Off of this? Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So I've got a new bundle. It's somewhat related, but it's kind of in that middle ground of it'll get you down and help you with some of the functional stuff built into JS, but it's going to be more targeted toward people that are still trying to learn JS really well. But from there, I'm going to get the transcripts done again, and I'm going to take more notes in each of these episodes so that I can talk about them in the webinar, because I know that I can pull up some really good questions. Oh, in this episode of Watch Me Code, I talked about blah, 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 and is that related to functional programming in this way or that way, or how does it? And so I'll be able to constantly drop references to Watch Me Code screencasts inside the webinar. It'll be relevant, and people will get more information about what I have.
Yep. Yeah, really the 80-20 of the whole copywriting thing is know the product, know the audience, and tell stories. Like, if you can do that stuff and learn how to connect the dots a little bit between the audience and the product, like that gets you most of the way there. Like the rest of it's polishing, and you can get better at that forever. But
well, it's interesting that we're talking about this because, like yesterday evening, I do roundtable training for Cub Scout leaders, and it's the same thing, right? I tend to go in assuming that these people are at the same level I am, and the truth of the matter is that I've been a Cub Scout leader for 9 years, and most of them have been Cub Scout leaders for less than 9 months. And so, yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's just more poignant to me because when I'm talking about programmers, the focus is much broader for me than Cub Scouts, and so it's easy for me to narrow that focus and say, oh, it's people like this.
Right.
But yeah, I need to do that for my newsletter and for my product stuff.
For me, it's a question of getting back into the mindset of the people that don't have the same experience I do.
Right.
So what was I like when I was frustrated with JavaScript this and pulling my hair out?
Yep. Well, the other thing is that it's about that perspective, to be sure, but it's also just understanding what they need. It's not just who are they and where are they, but it's specifically, for me, it's how do I make a big impact for them. That's kind of my payoff, is when people come up and say, what you've done has made a big impact on my life or my career. I feel like I'm so much further ahead because of what you did. And so if I look at that, then it's like, okay, so what bombs do I drop? Where am I hitting that's going to hit the hardest, that's going to make that kind of impact?
Right.
One thing for me when I'm doing this is that you're getting down to it when you start to feel yourself responding like viscerally to some of the stuff that you're describing. Like it's triggering real experiences that you've had and real memories, and you're starting to feel, because like I think for me, I'm actually not. The most important thing in like copywriting and marketing is empathy, and I'm not a very naturally empathetic person. I'm an INTJ on Myers-Briggs, and I will sit, like my natural inclination is to sit and judge people and say, well, you're stupid, that's stupid. But you can't do that when you get down to the level of an individual story. That kind of melts away a lot of times, and you start to see and feel what the what their experience is, and that's where you need to get. That's where you need to get your head in that space to be able to do this stuff well.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take that Myers-Briggs test.
It's halfway worthless.
It is useful from a layperson's perspective.
Yeah.
It will tell you things about yourself that will ring true to you, but I think like people can go way overboard with it.
Right. It's one of those things where it's set up in very black and white terms, but it's meant to give you perspective on your preferences, not to actually dial in your personality and who you are. Right. And most people take it very, very seriously, like, oh, this is who I am and how I am, so that's the way it is, and it's not like that. Mm-hmm. My brother used to do these for his work as a coach, a business coach, and he would hand these things out to people and tell them, look, this is just getting an understanding of your preferences and how you work and how you deal with things so that you as a team can understand each other, not so that you can pigeonhole your own personality. My wife thinks they're a joke, being a professional psychologist.
I think most
people do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put a ton of weight into it, but it's interesting to see what happens when you take it multiple times and if there are any differences over time.
Yeah.
Like, how am I feeling today? Let's go take this. You know?
When I did it in a group with a bunch of coworkers, and when they read my descriptions, they read all of our descriptions out loud. They read mine. People like just started laughing because it nailed me. So like it was so spot on, and it does help. Like it does help you realize things. Like for me, one thing that has always been frustrating for me is that I always feel very disconnected from whatever I'm doing. Like if I'm sitting talking to somebody, it's very natural for me to drift off, and it takes a ton of effort and energy for me to crank my brain down and focus on the person, because I'm always like living in my head basically, which is very common which is something that's very common for my personality type.
Yeah.
So other people might not have as much of a struggle with it. So
there's a book. I think I mentioned this book before on LeanPub. It's at leanpub.com/littleguide. I'll post that in the notes, by Alex Harms. And I've been reading this, and I'm about halfway through the book at this point, and it's all about focusing on the skill of empathy, and it's from a leadership perspective, but it works across the board in pretty much everything that we're doing, from marketing to talking with other people to actual leadership, like the book is focused on. But it's something that has been, for me, incredibly challenging to read through. I mean, it's not that the book is written in some difficult manner. It's written in a very personable and approachable manner, but the content of the book is very challenging for me, because it really wants you to slow down, to take time, to really practice these skill sets and the skills that are related to developing your sense of empathy and your ability to focus and be right there with that person in the moment. So if you're interested in developing that skill, I'd highly recommend that book.
Oh, I have to check that out.
Yep.
It's pretty short too. It's only, I don't remember how many pages it is now, but it's not terribly long. 91 pages total. But yeah, it's definitely it's something that we need more of, for sure, especially as software developers. Software developers tend to have a very low empathy ability, and it makes for some pretty terrible situations. A lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there too. I mean, just
Yeah.
why, and do we attract people like that, or do we kind of make people like that? Or
I think it's some of both.
I think it is too, but I think that's a discussion for another time.
Probably.
It's definitely something interesting to dive into, though. But.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the subject of, I guess it's kind of tangentially related to empathy and going back to Watch Me Code stuff. I've been trying in a few places, in a few small ways, to get into some one-on-one conversations with people to talk, to help them find answers and to help them, see the value of Watch Me Code. And I haven't had much luck finding situations. The two conversations that I've been having this week have both been over email. One of them is a previous Watch Me Code subscriber who basically said I couldn't find the things I was looking for. Because they were looking for X, Y, and Z, and so that signaled me, oh crap, I haven't made it easy enough for people to find the information that they want, because the things that he was looking for are on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he couldn't find it. So I've continued the conversation with him and pointed him to some very specific screencasts. I reactivated his account for a couple of weeks so that he could get in there and watch him, and I need to follow up with him. The other was a random question this morning from a person who's been on my mailing list for a while, and so I responded to their question and gave them some generalized advice, and asked them, hey, when you have more questions about this, let me know. I've got screencasts that cover this in Watch Me Code, but I'll be happy to answer your questions directly. So I'm kind of heading down this path, but I've only found these two opportunities inside of email for people that are already on my list anyways. How do I'm having a really hard time figuring out how to do this effectively in other places. Like with Signal Leaf, it wasn't that difficult because there were constantly people talking about wanting to start a podcast on Twitter. So I could easily find them with a few key Twitter searches, but I'm not sure what searches I would use and how I would start a conversation on Twitter for Watch Me Code.
Yeah. So a couple thoughts here. So, going back to the email thread, I'm probably going to this week install live chat on our sales pages.
Okay.
And what I'll probably do is I will turn it on for a couple of hours a day.
Yeah.
And probably only talk to somebody every day or two, like one or two people a day. But those are people that are pretty close to making some kind of buying decision. So that would be a really good place. You've got a lot of traffic to your site. I mean, comparatively. You have as much traffic to that site as we have to the 10 steps and the how to market yourself sales pages combined.
Okay.
If you're getting, I think you said you're getting around 5,000.
Yeah, 5,000 to 5,500 a month.
Then those are page views, not like how many users?
Unique users. Let's see. Oh, Google Crapalytics. Tell me what I need. 3,500.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, right from that, let's see here. 3,000, 3,500 times. Like, you ought to be able to sell 35 to 70 per month with that traffic. So there's
consider that those are also a lot of returning people.
Yes. Yeah. You don't know how many people, and any idea how many subscribers you have? No. Like, how many active subscribers do you have though? Like 400, right?
Yeah, 387.
Okay, so we'll say, call it 2,500 people might actually be in a position to buy. You still should be able to sell 1 to 2% of them easily.
Right.
So that would be the place to start. That's your lowest hanging fruit.
Okay.
Getting that site converting better. So live chat would be that's the closest, and you can even that might even be something where you can escalate to Skype with people.
Right.
And I wrote 2 emails this week about that conversation I had with that guy who bought How to Market Yourself, and just that 15-minute call, I learned stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do this, you're going to learn a lot of things, and I think you'll be able to. I think it'll translate into improvements really fast.
One other thing that comes to mind is as you're doing the webinar, in your follow-up, you can see if you can schedule a time to talk to people who don't buy.
Mm.
And that way or the people who do buy, and that way you can figure out, okay, why did these people buy? Why didn't these other people buy? And you can really, you don't necessarily. Okay, so let me back up. You do want to have the conversation where you're saying, I have Watch Me Code. You ought to go sign up. At some point, you probably want to pitch them, but I think most of the conversation is just going to be about who they are and where they're at and what they need and how they're getting it or how they're not getting it and how important it is to them and what they would pay in order to have it or things like that. Right. And that way you can kind of make that personal connection with people and figure out what it is that they're really after. And then at the end you can say, well, that's what I'm trying to do with Watch Me Code, and here's how and here's why, and and see if you can give them a free trial or something like that. But you should also then be able to get some language out of that as far as how they think about their problem, how they talk about their problem. Mm-hmm. And if they already feel like they have a relationship with you because of the webinar, then it probably will be fairly easy to get several of them to hop on a call with you for 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it would be. You can also time box this or put a quantity on it so you don't feel like it's going to take over your life. But if you had 3 to 5 conversations with people that had bought your full. Right now you've got 3, right? If you had 3 to 5 conversations with people that had actually bought your All Access Pass, and 3 to 5 conversations with people who were on the fence, that would give you a lot of insight.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this eternal open-ended thing like that. That'll give you the snapshot of what you need right now, I think.
Right.
Yeah, because then you can double down on, this worked for these 3 or 4 people, and you can also say, okay, I don't have enough of this, which is what these other 3 or 4 people are looking for.
Mm-hmm. So much work to do.
It feels like sometimes it's hard to sort out what's the busy work versus what is the most productive stuff. And this stuff here is super, super productive.
It feels like it's just going to take a lot of time that I already feel like I don't have.
Yep. Well,
I have very limited time windows in which I can do this. Basically, Monday and Friday morning before we start this.
Right. Could you have one conversation a week with a customer or potential customer?
Possibly.
That would be.
If I can do it on Mondays, yeah.
If you did that once a week for 10 weeks, you'd get what I'm talking about. The 10. You'd get your 10. Yeah. That would be worth your time.
Okay. What's going to be higher priority at this point in terms of? So I did my Watch Me Code survey, subscriber survey in early April, and I still have not taken the time to go over that content. There were a dozen people that responded to that said they would like to follow up with more conversation.
Oh, great.
And more feedback. So should I focus on them first?
So you've got. Tell me about that survey again. Was that? What questions did you ask?
I asked some very high level. What's your biggest problem? What's your
Okay.
current?
And you haven't gone through that at all yet?
No, I've read through it a
Okay.
couple of times, but I haven't really dissected it and categorized things.
Okay.
I did. So along with the what's your biggest problem? You know, how would solutions to this improve your life? You know, how would you feel if Watch Me Code went away?
Right.
And would you like to follow up and have more conversation about this? There was like 5 or 6 questions total.
Okay.
And I got some pretty good answers in there, and the majority of people said that they would struggle, but they would survive without Watch Me Code. But at the same time, a lot of those people also said, I love what you do, but it seems so unfocused, and it's not the level that I need, and it's this and it's that. So there were a lot of really, really good points that people made in the generalized feedback about the site, and things that I need to really categorize and work on.
I mean, going through, so the way that I use that data, I do not typically go through and like try to. I take a much more qualitative approach to it than trying to like break all the answers down. I think if I had an intern or somebody to go through and kind of analyze it more, I might do that. But for me, it's more about looking for the language that people are using, and usually there's like a couple of common themes that just jump out at you that you don't necessarily have to know, okay, this is like 56% more important than the next thing, but if there's like obviously going to be some major themes that come out of it, and that for me that's what I use the most. Like with how to market yourself, I did the survey, and the thing that came out of it was that I just completely forgot how much people hate their bosses, and their coworkers. And that was just, it was so long since I've had a lousy job that I forgot what that was like. And so that was like one of the biggest takeaways that came out of that survey for me when I did it. So, but yeah, gosh, if you've got people that have already raised their hand and said we'd love to talk more, definitely I would start there.
Okay.
Do one a week.
I agree.
And see if check them out to see if they've already subscribed or.
Yeah. So this survey went out only 2 subscribers.
Oh, only 2 subscribers. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think so for me right now with where you are, it would be most valuable to talk to brand new subscribers.
Okay.
Like if you talk to people that have been, it's still valuable to talk to customers, period. But you'd really like to know what is flipping people to make that buying decision right now, so you can do more of that. The people that have been a customer for a while, they're going to probably have a lot more like ideas and potentially gripes about what you're doing, which is valuable in a different way.
Right.
But not necessarily. It could potentially make you feel worse about about the product, which makes it harder to sell.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can go and look at the people who have subscribed recently and see if any of those you just said like to talk. Because then they're closer to the buying decision, and they may help you sharpen your tools a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, you haven't had any sales come in a while, but it might be a good idea whenever one comes in to just immediately email the person personally and say, hey, I'd love to talk to you, and see if you can jump on the phone with them for 15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Next.
Oh, did we make you uncomfortable or something?
You've given me far too much to think about.
Derek feels like he's got plenty of work already, and we just every time I talk to him, I just pile more on.
We opened his head up and poured a bunch in.
Yeah.
Okay, it's full.
Yes, it's my brain is sitting on the floor in a pile of work at the moment.
Yeah, I know the feeling. We have. You should see our ideas board for Simple Programmer. Like, John and I were talking. Like, we have a very hard time. There's people that are like, gosh, I just don't know what I need to do next to grow my business. And John and I are like, really? Like we have a board of like 50 ideas, all of which could potentially grow the business by like 10 to 50%. And it's just like the bottleneck is time and me.
Yeah, in a lot of ways I face the same thing, but then that leads me to the, well, which of these do I do next?
Yeah.
As opposed to the, I have no idea of even one thing I could go to next.
Yeah.
My problem's the other one. Okay, which of these do I chase down now?
Yeah, that's exactly the problem I have as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm working on this JavaScript this course. I'm working on this webinar. I've been trying to work on the homepage redesign for the content as well.
Yeah. Okay, don't worry about the homepage redesign.
Yeah, you're already telling me don't worry about that.
Yeah, everything you're doing now will feed into that. Because right now, like, you can spend a lot of time on that, and it will be better than it is now, but it still could be heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
If you do some of this stuff 2 or 3 months from now, you will be able to write that page much, much easier, and it will be 10 times better.
I just keep getting this feeling that if I don't at least fix part of that page now, that I'm not going to have the I'm not going to have any subscribers, because people are going to see that page, have no idea what they're getting into, and go away. And then 2 or 3 months from now, when I have all this work that I've done to talk to people and no subscribers, what do I do?
Derek, I forbid you to do it unless you can do it in less than an hour. If you get to the point where you're looking at that page and you say, fix this in less than an hour, and you're absolutely certain you can, go for it.
I've done a few things on that front already. Josh and I were talking last Friday after this call, and I made some changes right when we were talking and fixed a couple of things. But the majority of the problem at this point is the words that are written on there, not the layout, not the design, but the content of the page.
Yeah, but the problem is, just from talking to you for this last hour, is that you don't have enough clarity to go in there and actually clean it up so that it clearly tells people what they need to know or need to hear in order to buy.
I have more clarity on that than I did when the current homepage was created a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but I think that's inevitable. And I think you're still working on getting that clarity, and I think that clarity is something you can get here within a month or two. And so
I'm not convinced I am, because it's been sitting there for 2 years the way it is. I mean, I get your point about all the work that I'm doing now is going to add more clarity, but at what point do I say, you know what, I need to just get it done, because done is better than waiting for it to be perfect.
Okay,
that's fair, but
the way that I deal with this is, you have to know, I'm kind of like along the same lines as what Chuck is saying. If you try to sit down and force it before you're ready, before you've done your research, it's not going to happen. You're just going to sit there and struggle with it and get frustrated. And like, you want to get to a point where you're like, something clicks and you're like, okay, I see exactly what I need to do. And if you're at that point, you can write it pretty quickly. But if you're not at that point yet, you're generally just it's not probably gonna be a big improvement.
That literally never happens to me when it comes to marketing. You remember a couple of weeks ago, last week, whatever, when you forwarded my email about talking to a person and how that was the best marketing email that you had ever seen me write?
Yes.
That was 10 iterations and a year of thinking about it and learning. That was not something that I sat down and clicked. That was working my ass off for a very long time to reduce it and rewrite it and get it to that point. I don't have that it clicks and I write it when it comes to marketing.
I don't either. But what I would do is I would say, look, I have to talk to 10 people before I do it. Or I have to, and that way you can say, look, whether I get to that point or not, at least I will have done enough research to where I feel like I can make a massive improvement on it. Okay. And so, if that's 10 people, if that's 20 people, if that's a month, I don't know what that is for you, but figure it out.
So for that email, though, that was the one. I'm trying to remember. That was the one where you talked about
my frustration with code, and I talked to my friend for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The answer was obvious at that point.
But yeah, you did have. Tell me if I'm wrong. At some point, you did have the realization that, oh, that story is where I need to start.
Nope. I picked it randomly because I knew it was a good story.
So it was literally just a list of 10 ideas, and you just randomly picked one?
Mm-hmm. I picked one that I had already written, and then just iterated on the wording.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, okay, then maybe I'll have to think about this for a while.
It's funny because for me, I do the same thing. I just kind of do it by the seat of my pants. Oh, this is a good story, and it has a good point on it. Boom.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's fine. I mean, recognizing that the stories it points in a certain direction is kind of important, rather than just slapping it on at the end. But
yeah, and I knew that this particular story made the point that I wanted when emphasizing the Watch Me Code Slack. So it wasn't
okay.
It wasn't literally throwing a dart at a wall and seeing which one I hit.
Yeah.
It was which of my existing stories would make this point about talking to someone and would not require me sitting down and writing something new.
Okay. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not talking about like you have this crystal clarity and you instantly know every single word that you're going to write. But you have to get a sense for, okay, this idea is going to resonate. And your idea in that email, the idea was talking to someone. You can short circuit your problems by talking to someone, and the Watch Me Code Slack is the perfect
But I had no idea if that would resonate or not. I mean, I picked it because I thought it was a good story that fit the point I wanted to make. It was very much an experiment to see if it would work, though.
Fair point.
I mean, and you made another point on another one of my emails this week about how I had a lot of individual pain points in this one email, and each one of those should be separated out into their own story. And I went back and looked at that email and kind of scratched my head and didn't know what to do with it. Which is, I mean, I didn't respond to your email about it because I had no clue what to say.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I get your point, but what do I do with this? So I'm expressing a lot of frustration here because it's very obvious I'm frustrated and I'm not sure how to do these things. And for me, for me in the marketing world right now, I need somebody to hold my hand and walk me through this stuff a lot more than even what all of us do for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go read all of Perry Marshall's stuff and watch all of his videos and do everything and do the copy hour and write 1,000 words a day. And I'm not a professional marketer.
Right.
I have to be, but I can't be because I don't have time.
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is the real dilemma. Is there's the people that are selling the boilerplate stuff, which doesn't work.
Right.
Because nobody can write for your audience like you can, and this is why I'm wanted to niche myself down and ended up working with John, is just because for me to write for you, I have to become you, and that takes a freaking ton of time.
Yeah, which is why I'm not hiring anyone to do this work for me. At this point.
And you have to. It takes a lot of time, so it's expensive. And for me to be and make the kind of money I want to make as a copywriter, I would have to charge the same amount as like the top guys, and I don't have the reputation for that yet.
Right. And for me, it's a question of which of these funnels do I need to focus on, and coming back to the homepage, it's a question of, okay, if I focus on, one of these three funnels, either my email drip sequences that I have, or the webinar stuff, or talking to people individually.
Right.
Focus on one of those three things. In 2 out of 3 of those, the second thing that happens is hitting that homepage.
Right.
The only place where that is not the second thing that happens is when I'm talking to someone individually, and I can provide the information that the homepage should provide in a one-on-one setting.
Right. Well, the point of talking to people one-on-one is to give you the info that you need to fix the homepage and fix your other funnels. Really. Okay. I mean, I'm not really suggesting at this point. I don't really think you need to go all Nathan Barry and do like direct sales to grow your revenue.
Okay.
I'm saying if you can, the more one-on-one interaction you can get now, the faster you can get this thing to where it just sells itself. So it's just doing the research. Like it's all part of the same. It's step one of the homepage project. I mean, the research you're doing for your JavaScript, the avatar you're doing for that, and talking to customers one-on-one is the same thing. It's just slightly different ways of doing it, and they feed each other.
Yeah.
The better you understand that person, then I mean, like if you talk to 10 customers and 5 prospects and 5 customers, it might become very obvious to you what the copy on the homepage needs to be, or you might have a list of 3 to 5 ideas of what it could be, and you could try different ones.
Yeah, the only thing that I would add is that, some of them you're going to talk to and you're going to find out what clicks and what doesn't click for people, and some people you may actually have to pitch them on Watch Me Code in order to get them to come out with their objections or their concerns. But yeah, I agree with Josh in the sense that your primary purpose is to gather enough information to write that sales copy for those people.
Yeah, which is why I can't just do it here on this.
Right.
I just don't know. Like, and I don't like. I mean, some copywriters have enough experience to where they are pretty good at just riffing, and they can throw out headlines and stuff that are pretty good. But my process is like, it's a lot. There's a lot of digging that goes on before I can write anything that seems reasonable.
And my problem, I guess, is that I have to find the balance between those two things.
Yep.
Because I don't have the time that you have to spend on your process.
Yeah.
But I don't know what I need to say either.
Right.
So how do I find the balance that will get me customers within the next few weeks so that I can survive while I continue to do the research and figure this out?
Well, I mean, so basically you need some cash flow, right? And I think that the homepage project is a tough. The ongoing sales of the of your oh gosh, it's been a long week. The ongoing sales of your all access pass is going to be a tougher nut to crack, right? Because it's a bigger sale. It's a higher ticket item. I would, as far as like short-term cash flow, I think that your JavaScript this course is an easier sell because it's a smaller price point. if you could sell 10 or 20 of those a month, that helps you a lot, right?
Yeah.
That would help the bloodletting for a while. The research you're doing on your audience there is going to help feed your general. What you're probably going to end up with is that you're going to find you've got 3 or 4 or 5 avatars, and most of your customers fit those.
Yeah, I know I have at least 2. I've already
Yeah.
identified 2. One for the current work that I'm doing with Watch Me Code, and one for the JavaScript this stuff.
Right. So you're gonna end up with, that'll help. That the more clarity you can get there, like for Simple Programmer, we have like 6 that I've identified, and that probably covers 80 to 90% of our audience.
Right.
So any work you do there is going to be beneficial for your homepage. So I mean, if it were me, like when I started working with John, what did I do? The first thing I did was we launched this product. We got an email course created for that, got that working, and now we're doing the same thing for how to market yourself. And then from there, we're not gonna, until we get that stuff working well, we're not even gonna do any more product launches or anything, because there's a lot, there's a lot there that we're not. I think we should be selling at least 2 copies of How to Market Yourself a day, and we're not there yet.
Right.
So just based on the traffic. So we don't need to worry about getting more traffic, really. We don't need to worry about launching more products right now because we still have a lot of room to run. And your JavaScript, this course, and the bundle you've got there on the end of that sucker, they're pretty low-hanging fruit because that course is really popular. The bundle's a good fit, I think, for it. So I think that what you're doing there is going to play into the rest of it. And if you get that working, it takes some of the pressure off of you on, selling. You need money, and so what you can do is you can think of it this way: you work on one funnel at a time, and you've got your webinars. So if you could do one webinar a month. And generate a few sales that way, we'll see how this goes, but if it works, you could plan to do one of those a month, generate some revenue that way, and then work on one funnel at a time until you get it working, and then you go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And the webinars are pretty they're pretty high, the equivalent of a high touch sales situation, so you've got a much better chance of being able to convert people off of that than you do off of a better homepage. So, you could literally send people, once they've been through the webinar, you could literally send people to an add to cart page and bypass the homepage completely if it's not really working for you. So that's how I would slice it anyway.
All right.
The homepage is a big priority, but it's also.
Well, you're telling me it's not at this point. It's
a priority for this year.
Priority.
Yeah, it's a priority for this year, but there's these other things you can do first that will get you some quicker wins.
Yeah.
And buy you the time you need. I want to write. I think I want to write a new homepage for Simple Programmer too. But there's a lot of other stuff first.
I don't have anything to add to that. So.
Yeah, I'm done. End rant.
Well, it is frustrating, and I think we all understand that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that things have been kind of frustrating for me, not necessarily from I'm not getting people to stand up, but or stand up. Did I say stand up or sign up?
Stand up.
Stand up.
I must be tired. Sign up, but it seems like I keep having roadblocks come up in my way when I'm looking at things like just getting these stupid videos done so I can be done with Rails clips. I switched everything over to WordPress, I thought I had figured out how to add memberships to people in MemberPress, but it turned out that didn't quite work out that way. But it's just, I swear, it's just one thing after another. It just, I wind up fixing stuff. I wind up fighting fires here and there and everywhere, and then I go to record the videos, and something comes up with my kids, and then I don't feel well. I mean, it's just, it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's your timeline on the Rails clips thing?
I wanted to get it done this week, but that's not going to happen. So I'm hoping to get it done next week.
Yeah, that'll be good to get that finished.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I just need to, I think I talked about this last week, but I need to clear up these commitments so that I can move on to other things.
Yeah.
And anyway, it's been kind of rough figuring it all out and making it all work, and I've got sponsors that haven't paid me yet for this quarter, that and the money's starting to get a little bit low.
Oh man.
And so that's frustrating too, to figure all that out. And so I've been trying to harass them and say, hey, look, I haven't been paid. What's the story here? And I haven't heard back. And anyway, it's just, I don't know. And I'm totally burned out.
This was you were how long were you gone last week? Like most of the week, or?
Last week.
Or was
what do you mean?
I thought you were maybe it was the week before. You were at a conference.
It was the week before.
Okay.
I was gone Tuesday through Friday. And that, I came back to a whole bunch of stuff that I needed to get done, so. And, anyway, I don't mean to complain, but it's been really, really rough just trying to figure all this stuff out.
Yeah, I hear ya. Well, our sales have picked up a little bit.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're coming out of the woods. So we've had a couple days where it's been up and down, but for the most part, it seemed like it was that combination of factors that I think I talked about last week. Where I actually just got an email. So I wrote. So last week I was writing. As all this was happening, I was writing emails about it to my list, and then they all went out this week. So it's kind of funny because I knew that my email today, I was kind of talking about how things kind of came back to life for us last week. So, but I was getting advice all through the week from people who were reading reading the emails about where things were before last weekend.
Yeah.
So it was actually quite amusing. But I got some really good suggestions from my readers. So I'll have to go back. And one of the guys was saying basically the live chat thing, like they had a similar situation and they were like their sales just completely tanked and they were able to figure it out with live chat, figure out what the heck was going on and get it fixed. So I really think I need to do that. It's just I just need to carve out, like, just plan on having office hours like a couple times a week where I'm just sitting there and then working, but then if somebody interrupts me, it's okay, and I go talk to them. But yeah, it seems like we're doing the promotion this week for Dan Martell's product, which is a course on how to start a non-bootstrapped, a venture capital funded startup, like software startup. And so that's been a lot of fun. We've been competing. So he got the affiliates that he recruited are like Joanna from Copy Hackers, Rob Walling, Nathan Barry, Ryan Levesque, Andre Chaperone, a bunch of other internet marketer, business type people. And so he's done this whole big launch where we have a private Facebook group, and he's like sharing the stats and everything. And so we're all like competing and jostling for the top spot. So the first time he put the stats out, Nathan Barry was in first, and we were right behind him, and we were in the number 2 slot. And I was like, oh, because our list isn't really even that good of a fit for this. Like, some of these other guys have much better. Their lists are like much more business focused, and ours is software development focused. But yeah, so he's been updating the leaderboard all week, and this morning we took the lead.
Oh wow!
We've been in second place. Excuse me. We've been in second place all week, basically. Behind a couple different people, and then we were yesterday when he updated it. We were down by 3, and I was like, so we're sending opt-ins, so we're trying to get people to opt into Dan's list, and we were down by 3, and I was like, oh man, I was like so close, and I didn't think that I'd be able to. I was like, I think that was my only chance to actually push to the front, because we're pretty much out of steam. Like I pretty much am done. I've sent like 6 or 7 emails about this now, and I think our list is about done signing up for it. So, but then he updated it this morning, and we were in first place. So that's pretty amazing. Like John went into the Facebook group and like told people that I wrote the emails and everything, so that's been pretty exciting all week. Dan's done a really great job of like keeping everybody really competitive, and so it's really pushed me. We're gonna do a webinar with him next week. That'll be a lot of fun, and then we're gonna do a couple of. So I don't know. I have no idea how these are gonna convert, but the product is like a $2,000 product, and there's a really healthy affiliate commission on it. So if we can get a decent conversion rate, then we could actually. I'll get a nice little bonus out of it too, because it won't be. We're counting it as like product launch income instead of general income. So I'll get a slice of it. So that has been a ton of fun this week. And I'm a little burned out on writing those emails though. So yeah, I interviewed John, and we did emails about the emails were about his 2 failed attempts at becoming an entrepreneur before he started Simple Programmer, and the failures were pretty epic. So I ended up making it into like a connected sequence of emails. Like the last email, basically, he walked away from a job to take this job with this little startup, and the job that he walked away from, if he'd hung in there for a couple of years, he would have gotten. They got bought out, and he would have had $1 million payday.
Oh man.
He had 8% ownership stake, and he would have walked away with a check for almost $1 million. So it was, yeah. So there was a lot of fun, like rub salt in the wound kind of stuff that we could do with that. But it bodes well for our. We're planning to launch a product about entrepreneurship, and probably more in the bootstrapper approach sometime later in the year. So it seems like there's a lot of really strong demand for that on our list. So that will be fun. Trying to think what else has been going on this week. Oh yeah, we're doing an affiliate. So we're going to do a mailing next week for. There's this site called Java Code Geeks, and they have a huge email list that they've put together. So we're going to try an experiment. They're going to send out an email from John to their entire list of people in the U.S. And I set up a one-click opt-in with Thrive. I didn't realize you could do this with Thrive, but oh my gosh, my hatred of lead pages continues. Yesterday I wasted about an hour and a half with lead pages, and I was so mad. So I wanted to do this one-click opt-in thing. Okay, so one-click opt-in. So you can set it up so that when you send an email to somebody else's list, you give them a URL with the merge tag for the email address. Does that make sense? So it's like, simpleprogrammer.com/5learningmistakes/Josh@joshuaearl.com, and then whatever then when they click on that URL, it routes through some kind of system that grabs their email address and submits it to Drip.
Mm-hmm.
Lead Pages, I think, was the first one to release something like this, and so I was like, I was interested in trying it out. So I ended up buying a whole month of their service, and then I went in and I tried to set it up, and it turns out they don't support Drip via the API, and then not only that, but they don't let you even copy and paste in the form HTML. So basically, it was completely useless to me. So Lead Pages has failed me for the last time. I will never. I will never. It's funny too because they've done a good job of like reskinning. I haven't looked at it in a long time, and they totally reskinned the marketing site. But when you go in, it's like, yeah, this is still the same Lead Pages I remember from 2 years ago that I hated.
Yeah, my issue with that, I remember like twisting myself into knots trying to figure out how to get it to do Drip, and I finally did get it to do Drip, but yeah, it's no fun.
Yeah, you were using the forms, right? Like just
Yeah.
copy and pasting the HTML in and.
Yeah, it was something like that. But I remember you also still had to like tweak it a little bit after you even did that. So.
Okay. Yeah, it was. So I ended up setting it up with Thrive, but of course Thrive has the issue where they force you to send double opt-in emails if you use Drip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I ended up doing was I hacked it together. I set it up to work with MailChimp, where they do allow you to select single opt-in or double opt-in if you use MailChimp. So I set up these single opt-in link or these one-click links using MailChimp, and then we went and got a pro plan with Zapier to pull people out of the MailChimp list and put them into Drip. So it's like totally kludged together. It seems to be working though, so hopefully this will go well. But yeah, so we're going to blast this email out to 70,000 people. I think it's going to be on Wednesday. And it'll be a single-click opt-in, so we're thinking we'll probably get around 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers out of that in one fell swoop, and then just have to see how many of them turn into actual buyers. But that would be, I mean, based on the average conversions on that funnel, I think we might end up making like around 8,000 off of it. So that would be pretty sweet, and we can do that. It's something we can repeat. So we can go back to that same list again in 3 months probably and get another big chunk of subscribers. So yeah, if you can find good email lists in your niches, that is, and they're willing to do some kind of sponsored arrangement, that's like the best traffic you can get.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what I've been up to this week. That competition has been pretty intense. So I ended up almost like all the emails ended up being, gosh, they were long. Like some of them were over 1,000 words. It's ridiculous.
Wow. So what do you get if you're the top dog?
We're not going to be the top dog. I don't know. Actually, don't know if there's a prize or anything. Sometimes they do prizes for that, but I think I just kind of wanted to crack #1 for the recognition because of the people that we're going up against. But yeah, I think we're pretty much done. Like everybody else has only sent a couple of emails to their list, I think, and I've sent like 7 or 8. So,
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I think I pretty much have exhausted. So we've driven about 600 opt-ins for Dan's email sequence. So that's out of 25,000. That's not bad, given that our list is not about business. It's about software development. So yeah, so we're going to do a webinar with Dan this week, and I think we'll probably get another 100 or 200 or so subscribers out of that, and then that'll be it. We'll be done. So And then John and I are going to do. We came up with a couple of bonuses to offer. So if people buy through us, we're going to do some kind of promotion for them. Like if they get their startup going, we'll actually promote it on Simple Programmer. And so that could be pretty valuable because we're talking to sponsors right now, and we're planning on charging about $10,000 a month for the sponsorship. So we can pretty legitimately claim, that's a $5,000 value if we promote you. And then we're also going to do some one-on-one, like coaching or consulting or something. So it'll be interesting. I have absolutely no idea how many people will end up buying. So could be it's a $2,000 product, so could be nobody. could be anywhere somewhere between 0 and 50 is my guess. So it's definitely we're probably based on how this goes, we'll see if we ever do any like affiliate stuff again. So if we don't make at least 10 sales, I don't think it's worth the effort that we put into it.
Right.
But that's pretty much been my week.
Cool.
So back to the live chat thing for a second. What live chat system are you looking at?
The two that I'm looking at are Freshdesk and Olark.
Freshdesk.
Yeah.
I just sent out a question to Twitter, and Olark, Intercom, and Talk.to, TAWK.to are the ones that came back.
Yeah, Olark is... I was looking at Freshdesk because they have a free tier.
Right. Talk.to is entirely free, which I'm not sure how they do that and make money.
Well,
they say they do.
Currently says down for maintenance.
TAWK.to.
Oh my gosh, that is such a branding nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I've used live chat before, and it works pretty well.
Okay.
I don't remember. I think the client that we had. I don't know if it worked on Mac or not. But
yeah, the Talk.to has an iPhone, an Android app. It integrates with WordPress. There's a WordPress plugin. I'm sure most of these have WordPress plugins.
No, I'm talking about the other end. The end that you'd be using to chat with people.
Why wouldn't it work with Mac? It's just web stuff. It's text-based chat.
Yeah, live chat had an actual native client.
Oh,
that would be kind of nice. Yeah, that would be kind of nice.
That would be terrible.
Wow, totally different reactions.
I think it depends. I can tell you that having a native client there was kind of nice because, you could just pull it up and use it, and you didn't have any kind of browser constraints or anything.
Yeah.
Then you could just turn it on and off whenever you wanted. Ah, cute kid.
Say hi. Say hi. Say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, guys, it's time to come play with Mom.
Go play with Mommy. Love you, sweetie. So he had track and field day this morning and is all tired out and worn out, so we took him home early from school.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my guys mostly don't nap anymore except when they go to the playground.
Yeah.
They crash hard after that.
Nice.
So on to the chat things. Of course, I'm reaching back like 6 or 7 years. Longer than that. When I was running tech support for Mozy, we used live chat. A lot of the systems will let you chat with a handful of people at once, and you can get the transcripts and stuff. You can also, on some of them, you can push them to a voice call of some kind. So, look at some of those features, because if you can push them to voice and get a recording of that, I think you're going to get better information than you would over a chat or anything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I think most of them work pretty similarly, where you either have an in-window pop-up or it pops open its own window for the chat, and then you can chat like that. But yeah, there are a lot of options. And the closer you can get to face-to-face, I think really the better the better results you're going to get.
Right.
But you can only do
Intercom
one of
is
those at a time.
expensive, and it has far more features and apps than I care about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
shocked.
toss Intercom out the window. Olark has a better package for the price, $15 a month for one operator, which is more like what I would need, and they're focused just on the text-based chat, which is all I really care about right now.
Right.
Yep.
I would try something free to start and make sure you're actually gonna get some value out of it. I mean, it might be you put it up there and it doesn't, it just doesn't. People don't use it at all, and
yeah, I might try that Talk.2 in that case. I mean, they have a WordPress plugin, so it'll be super simple to install.
Nice. Yeah, I'll take a look at that one as well.
If they
They have a
mobile
native
client,
Mac app.
Yeah, they have an iPhone and an Android app.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, then if people are on your website and you're sitting at the doctor's office and have a few minutes, or you're sitting there for a half hour, you can chat with people on your iPhone or
answer chats while you're on the go using the Talk.2 app for Android or iPhone.
Yep.
I think you should just eliminate a couple of words there and answer chats while you go.
Yes.
Took
me a moment to get it, but yes.
I have one friend I won't name.
Oh, there is a Mac app specifically for Talk.2.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that actually looks really good. I'm gonna check that one out. So, I think it's like one of those things that I will, if it's something that I think it's something I'll probably use for a few weeks and then never use it again.
Yeah, but if it works out well, maybe I'll keep it around, and if I do keep it around, I might pay for one instead of using a free one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you get, so if you get, you're getting an average of like 90 people a day.
Yeah.
On that site, right? So one or two of those people every day are fairly serious, and pretty good prospect. Actually, probably more like 5 or 10. But if you can get one or two of those people every day to ping you, like your chances of making a sale with them go way up.
Right.
Yep.
It occurs to me that this is also something I could do with DevChat. To get to know listeners better.
It is, yes.
Totally. So on that subject of people that may actually be interested, I've had 146 unique page views on my pricing and plans page. And I see a lot of these on, there's 31 of them are from unique clicks in my email sequence.
Okay.
So I can see the ones that are from Drip directly and the ones that are from Deadline Funnel. So I'm getting a lot of
traffic there.
Yeah, I'm getting. I mean, in the last week alone. Just this week, I've had 146 unique page views on the pricing plans, and I've made 0 sales with it.
Yeah, that might actually be the better place to start than your homepage.
Okay.
That would be a good place to put the live chat for sure.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Because then you're gonna be like, these people are actually considering buying.
Yep.
They've already gotten sifted once by clicking something to get there. So, yeah, that would be. I mean, and that might just be like you need to turn that in. You need to. I don't know what questions people have at that point. So that would be what you need to find out.
Yep.
And so, like, if people are, that's kind of what I was looking at with when our sales funnel dried up last week. Is like, okay, where is the fall off happening? And we were definitely seeing some fall off on the actual like homepage traffic, the sales page traffic, and then really where it was basically falling off after the add to cart. Yeah. And that was where it's like, okay, well, this was all working fine before. So I actually, in my case, I didn't really know where to go with it after that because I knew how far people were getting, and they were getting there in the same numbers that they were before.
Mhm.
But that's a different problem that you have. You clearly have a stopping point here, where people are going this far and no further.
Right.
So
I guess the first thing to do is make sure that the registration page actually works.
yes.
Which I verify that on a pretty regular basis, but it's been a while since I've verified it.
Yep. Yeah, so that's really valuable. That's very valuable info. I mean, you should have had, with 150 people, you should be able to get 3 or 4
One.
sales out of that.
Yeah.
You got one?
No, I should.
Oh, yeah.
I should be able to get one. Why haven't I gotten one?
Right. That's a question that you need to answer.
Yep.
And live chat there, I don't know if for me, I would like to have it to where it's actually personal and I could actually have my, a picture and stuff on it and actually proactively ask a question.
Yep.
I don't know if this talk.2, for one thing, I don't know if that actually works. I imagine it does, but have you guys seen like the chat widgets that a lot of people are using now like a Hotjar uses it, where it's like you'll be working and then it'll be like bloop, and it'll kind of like makes a little noise, kind of catches your attention, pops up. There's a picture of a friendly person there that you'll actually talk to if you start asking a question. That's kind of what I would like to have.
Yeah, I that would be good as well. Most of the time, those things drive me nuts. My favorite is when I'm on 2 different websites and I get that little pop-up, and it's the same picture with different people's names.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Stock photos for the win.
And of course, it's always beautiful women.
Who doesn't like to talk to beautiful women?
Exactly.
Trixie wants to talk.
Yes.
Trixie.
Trixie and Bambi.
Bambi. I watched The Sandlot not yesterday, but a few days ago with my kids, and when you said that, first thing in my head, that stupid deer.
Yep.
So I have a question for both of you. I know that you've tried paid traffic in the past, and I'm really considering doing this for the remote conferences.
Okay.
I'm just not quite sure where to start. Part of me thinks that I should go play with Facebook ads since I've kind of played with them a little bit already.
Yeah. Okay.
But part of me is, well, why not buy them on Google as well?
My best advice for this would be don't listen to me.
So,
since what I did didn't work, don't do what I did.
Exactly.
So we are just now starting to look into this. I'm just now starting to actually work on this. So, because basically my approach with it is that we have this funnel that's clearly working now with how to market yourself, or not how to market yourself, 10 steps, converts at a pretty, until this last little hiccup, it's pretty steady, and we pretty much know what we're going to get out of it. So I am going to be working on just driving more people into that email course. And the problem right now we have is that the only people that end up going through that email course are the people who opt in through the Plinko machine, because we don't advertise it on the website at all. Everything on the website is about the blogging course, pretty much. So we're kind of starving that sales funnel, and it clearly works. So for us, where I'm starting is Google, and I'm starting with remarketing.
Okay.
And for you, you have a lot of traffic, right? The devchat.tv.
Yeah, I can go look at it.
But like 20,000, 50,000 a month.
Per month?
Yeah. Just
let's see. What did Derek call it? Stupid analytics or something?
Crapalytics,
like that? Crapalytics.
Yeah.
Crapalytics sounds like biometrics to me. Anyway.
Yes.
All right. Let me pull it up, and then I can tell you for sure. I can tell you that I think switching over to WordPress has actually helped our traffic a little bit.
Oh, sweet.
I'm not
It'll
quite
help
sure
with
why.
SEO because WordPress is king of SEO.
All right,
Even if you
so
don't have the SEO plugins installed, it's still
yeah.
it's gold.
So over the last month, we've had 22,609 users,
Okay.
77,574 page views.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's enough to where. So remarketing is going to be cheaper generally because what I have found. So I have not found that the clicks are cheaper, but I've found that the people know you, and so they're a lot more responsive. So you pay kind of this. The prices seem about the same to me. You understand what remarketing is? Are you
Is that
familiar with that?
retargeting?
Yeah, retargeting is that's the other. Yep. So, and you can do that with Facebook and Google. The thing is, paid traffic is like a whole discipline.
Yes, I kind of understand that. And I'm just like,
and if
how do I get far enough in to get back out what I want?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I mean,
Really, the only thing I could even remotely say is buy Perry Marshall's Google AdWords book or his Facebook ads book.
I mean, like, I'm planning on devoting a significant amount of time to this over the next 3 months, like several hours a week minimum, and also planning on losing money for at least the next 3 months on it. Like, it just takes time to get the information you need, and it takes time and money to get the information that you need to actually make things work. There's just no. So the alternative is hiring someone to do it for you, but generally those guys, if they're any good, they're going to charge you like $1,000 a month.
Right.
And they're going to. You basically you need to have like something kind of working and making money before they really want to talk to you if they're any good.
Right.
Because they have so many people after them. It's kind of like copywriters. If they're any good, you have to have a project worth working on for them. Or
yeah, my thing is though is that I would pay $1,000 a month if it'll take the conference overall sales from 10,000 to 20,000.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it really depends. I feel like for you, learning paid traffic is probably not a good use of your time.
Right.
I feel like you've got other strengths like your networking and your deep network that you can tap that could do.
Well, that's where I was going to tap first,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering as I get a lot more of this into a system, if I couldn't get that under a system too.
It's one of those things where you need to have a fully working automated system first.
Right.
If you don't have everything completely automated already, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the only way you know you have it automated is because you've got your system working for your existing channels. You've got people that hit this URL and go through this funnel and everything works already.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can build it. You can build that. You can use paid traffic to build that funnel. It just costs you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you've really got to be focused on it. Like you've got to be testing and and tracking everything and really kind of committed to doing that for a period of time while you lose money, which is where we are. So we have this. I mean, we've got with 10 steps. We have a landing page that works. We have an email course that works. We have a thank you page with a video on it that converts fairly well. We have a sales page that converts fairly well, and all I need is like more people going in the end. So for me, that's pretty easy. Like just adding AdWords is pretty easy. But if I didn't have any of that stuff, I wouldn't really be thinking about this right now. So yeah, like I don't know. For me, I wouldn't be worried about this right now.
Well, I don't know if I have time to focus on it for like Ruby Remote Conf, which is coming up in about a month.
Yeah.
Or even Newbies Remote Conf, which is coming up in about 2 months. But I'm thinking, in the fall, I may be able to get some of this figured out and boost what I'm getting
Yeah.
at.
You also need to have like a fairly, you need to have, for each customer to be worth a lot of money. Because, so like for us, I kind of think figuring our break-even point for 10 steps is that I think I can afford to pay about $5 to get an email subscriber.
Right.
And right now I'm paying like 10 or 12 to get one email subscriber. So I need to get that down to like $4, $4, and then we'll be in really good shape.
Right, that makes sense.
So there's a long way to go before I get there. So yeah, if you like, for me, I had tried to do this for my Sublime stuff, and I could never. I mean, with the book, it might have, each email subscriber might have been worth like $1 or $2 if you figure the number of email subscribers that would actually buy the book. So like my subscriber lifetime value was like $1 or $2. Well, you're not going to be able to get any kind of email signups out of paid traffic with that. Not anymore. So, because like in the programming niche, every time I've run tests on ads that like weren't really great, they weren't optimized very well. It's pretty normal to pay 50 cents to $1 a click.
Right.
So you need to be in a position where if you pay 50 cents for a click, that that 20% of those people will turn into email signups, which that's going to be $2.50 to get a subscriber, right. And then that what you're selling is going to bring in at least that much.
Okay.
So yeah, so there's definitely it's definitely a process, and I don't know if it's one that you need to dig into just yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is my 2 cents. Because you've got a lot of free traffic, and if you can get, I'm really like I'm doing the AdWords thing, but I'm continuing to work on just getting more of our free traffic converting better, because that's like
right.
There's a lot of room for growth there, and I imagine it's that way with you too. So
yeah, probably
where you should focus first would be like it sounds like you're getting good opt-in rates on your website, so probably the next thing would be focusing on your emails and really getting those folks, those dialed in so that you get steady, so your list growth turns into sales for your conferences.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I can also, I can drive a lot of it off of some of the talks that were given last year at Ruby Remote Conf that were good.
Yeah.
Things like that, and just say,
yep.
So I learned this little trick from this talk, and then at the end, so then I can talk about how it's paid off for me, which gives them the story and hopefully hits some kind of pain for them, and then, if you want to level up like this, then go sign up for the conference.
Yeah. If you are going to do paid traffic, email would be like, email lists would be the number one thing that you could do.
I'll buy my way onto other people's lists.
Yep. Because you can get, when I was doing Sublime, I could buy email subscribers for $1 from other email lists.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty easy to do.
Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
I think John and I will probably end up getting subscribers from this Java Code Geeks blast that we're doing at like 50 cents to $1. Okay. And you almost can't lose money at that.
Yeah,
at that point, if you've got any kind of product, it's like you almost can't lose money. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's my take anyway.
Well, now you overflowed my brain too.
Well, I got Talk.2 installed and working.
Oh, cool.
It was literally sign up, copy, paste, works.
Cool. Just turn it on and see what happens.
Yep. So I need to make the little pop-up form look a little nicer, but it's good.
I noticed that they also were asking for an email address in there, which you could experiment with trying that and not trying it.
Mine, the default one does not.
Oh, okay, great.
So now, you type in a message and you hit enter, and it rings me in the Talk app.
Okay, cool. Can you like set yourself to away and?
Yep.
Nice. So does the little widget disappear if you set yourself away?
No, it changes into a send us a message form.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think I would rather have it hide completely.
Might be able to change that.
But yeah, I think I'm going to do this today too, just for the heck of it. Just see what happens.
Oh, there it is. Hide widget went offline.
Some of the I've heard. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Yeah, because I don't want it to like. I don't want to be getting a million emails. I want to like be able to be very selective about it.
Right.
But yeah, like I've heard some really great success stories from people who were doing like paid traffic, like we're talking about, to an opt-in or to a sales page with the live chat feature, and like it just lets you iterate so fast. Like you can collect a lot of information.
We heard that story at MicroConf about the guy that was walking his clients through the sign-up process, and then deploying another round of.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
The great thing is that app. I can't remember the name of the app, but Joey Benninghove, who used to work at Trackabout, he's the one that got me hired there. He uses their podcasting app to do his little 2-minute podcasts.
Oh, nice.
So it was like, oh wow, getting some backstory behind the scenes from this app that I've known about because one of my friends uses it. So it was pretty cool to hear what they built and how they did that in order to really make it a product that Joey talks about how much he loves it and how simple it is. And it's only because they spent that time doing that it is so simple.
Nice. Sweet. All right, well, I'm going to install this too. Just see what happens. We can compare notes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Cool. I'm out of gas. What do you guys?
Yeah, I am as well.
I have to get ready to go to. They're doing Alice in Wonderland in my third graders class, and then they're doing a poetry. I forget what they called it. But anyway, for my fourth graders, so that's my afternoon today.
Nice.
But I've got to go get ready to go. So.
All right.
All right. Any thoughts for the week?
I'm just trying to keep my head above water.
Yeah, sometimes it's all you can do. Pretty good thought.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything profound, so.
Me either.
Gonna bow out. Wow, we just without John here,
Yeah, it's completely. It's a lot of other reasons for me that I don't have a thought this week, but.
All right, guys.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.